Hello everybody, I'm here today with Malibu Budd at Death Wish Tattoo. I've asked Malibu to do an artist spotlight for people to find out a little bit about her before her profile gets revealed in the book that I'm working on, the Canadian Electric Tattoo Scene. So I'd like to ask a few questions about your career, and I've always found you deeply fascinating. Getting to know you has been such a wonderful gift, just to hear a little bit about your career, and the few times that we've met, you didn't match the image in my mind, and it was delightful that you didn't. I think you're just a fabulous person, and that's why I wanted to do this spotlight.
It's been great to connect with you today, actually. I'm really appreciative of it and super grateful to be included.
Yeah. Well, I think when I first came in, we were talking about how your reputation preceded you long before I ever got to meet you. And, so it's such a joy to be here to do this interview with you.
Well, I feel like yours does too, actually. I've always known who Endless Boundaries Ned Burwell is, well before I, could put a face to the name or a person to the name.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have like an ethereal presence.
Okay. Well, I wrote a book called Be Loved, so I sort of have to try to live up to that sometimes.
Yeah, and the duality of my seeing me in a picture versus meeting me in person, I would say that I definitely am a very dual nature person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's dive in. So your early stages of tattooing, how did you get into tattooing?
Okay, so when I was 16, I started tattooing in Sarnia, Ontario, and I don't know, it's a pretty run-of-the-mill story. A seedy guy with a seedy little shop took me in and got my foot in the door and basically taught me a bunch of things that I ended up unlearning, and I'm primarily self-taught, actually, or at least I was for the early part of my career. Mm-hmm.
And then, that's a story I've heard many times where you initially get in somewhere and it's time to vacate. So what were some of your first few movements in tattooing? So
I was there until it had served its purpose. And then I attempted way too early to co-own a little home studio with one of my girlfriends. It was cool while it lasted. But when you're on your own and you are unlearning things and trying to learn new things, that's just not the right environment for it. So I then tattooed with a friend of mine, and that was really cool, still in Sarnia, both of those places in Sarnia. And then, that lasted a few years before I just knew that there was more out there and I had to go find it. So when I was around 18-ish, 19-ish with $1,000 that I had worked very hard to save up, because I was busy for my circumstances. I was in a small town. Tattoos were just starting to gain the popularity that we know now, thanks to Tattoo TV. Yeah. That made a huge explosion. Everybody can pinpoint around the 2007, 2008, 2009 explosion of tattoos hitting the mainstream, right? But I was a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old girl in a small city. So I tattooed enough that I was able to save up $1,000 and move to London. That was my big leap.
Okay.
And that was, for me, that was terrifying actually at the time, but I just had faith that that was where I needed to go and where I needed to be for more. Yeah.
So you land in London, and where did you go? Where did you end up looking for work?
So the pinnacle goal that I had was to work at Addictive Tattoo. And at that time, with 2 years under my belt and a not awful, but not addictive worthy portfolio, I just said I will walk into that shop and walk out embarrassed. That's a future goal for me. I walked into, should I mention the name of the shop I walked into?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so I walked into the Neon Crab in London and basically just said, hi, I work here now. and I tattooed there for 4 years. Met my best friend Pete there, my best tattoo friend.
When you go into Neon Crab, you met Pete Vanderhyde there.
I did meet Pete Vanderhyde at the Neon Crab.
So that, when we did your interview, you were talking about how it was sort of maybe the first time you had met your match in artistry?
Yeah, so that was the first up close experience I'd ever had with an artist that was that gifted with just a piece of paper and a pencil. And you'll interview him and you'll hear his very unique history as well. And it's so cool how he ended up with those abilities.
Yeah.
And that was so inspiring and so life-changing to finally be working beside somebody that could contribute to me just as much as I could contribute to him, and we fed off of each other.
Yeah.
And we inspired each other to try new things, try new equipment, try new techniques. We tattooed each other. We rolled together everywhere. It was awesome. It was so awesome that when I did end up at Addictive, I had to bring him with me.
Yeah. So you were like a 2-for-1.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was going to leave anyways and put in a good word for him, whether he was coming with me in that moment or not. But
Sure.
I did. That was my goal, that Pete would follow with me.
So after 4 years, you leave Neon Crab, and how did you get the job at Addictive?
So it happened not in the way that I expected it to happen. I thought, okay, I'm going to work towards making an impressive little portfolio, and I'm going to bring it into Addictive, and I might not blow their socks off, but maybe it'll be good enough that they consider letting me in the door. So after 4 years at the Neon Crab, I mean, I hadn't even decided to do that. Like, the more I thought about it, the less I wanted to. I was very intimidated by the idea of walking into my dream shop with a portfolio and asking for a job. And it's not even like fear of rejection. I just couldn't, I couldn't look at my own work and say, okay, yeah, it's there. But we went to a convention as a shop, then me, Pete, the Neon Crab, and Jackie Gallant, Addictive Jackie, was outside smoking and looking cool. And because I have no concept of what appropriate boundaries are, I shoved through the crowd and obnoxiously introduced myself to her. And I mean, I also wanted to purchase some machines from her and have her tweak and repair some of mine. So I took her contact information. I reached out. We set up a date to do that. I went by the shop, and within like a half an hour, it turned into a job interview.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'm going to need enough time to overthink this. Yes, I wasn't expecting this to happen, and I'm super intimidated now, and I don't know if I'm good enough. And
well, hold on there. when you said the same thing when I interviewed you, you needed more time to overthink it.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
I needed way more time to overthink it. And she said, well, don't think too long.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this was your goal and your dream to go work at this shop. She offers you the job, and you say, let me think about it.
Yeah. Well, don't think too long.
Yeah. I can almost hear Jackie saying,
oh, yeah. So I said, okay, you know what? After lots of overthinking it, I said, you know what? This isn't even a question. This is your ultimate goal. You asked for it and you got it without even having to do any of the super intimidating portfolio showing, you know?
That's right.
She's already seen your work. You've probably, maybe been on her mind before. Obviously she believes in you. So just go for it. Like, what do you have to lose? So.
And I think what you may not have known at that point is that you were already gaining a reputation in the London vicinity. Like, people, I myself was watching your work and thinking, who is this person? But you didn't know that because you had your head down working, but there were people watching and really admiring what you were doing, even from afar.
Yeah, that is wild to think about it like that. I don't have that outside perspective of myself, I guess.
We don't usually. We don't really know people's opinions.
That's probably a good thing.
Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not. But in this circumstance, you probably didn't realize how great of a reputation you were gaining. So. Yeah,
no, not at all. Actually, at that time, we didn't touch on this in the interview, but at that time I had received multiple offers from other shops, like high level, like, top competitor shops in London that were offering me jobs, and I just couldn't friggin' do it. Like, it wasn't Addictive, so I couldn't do it. That was my goal, and nothing was going to change that for me. So.
And what was it about Addictive Tattoo that you locked your sights on?
Absolutely everything about it. The history, the tattoos that came out of there, who owned it, how long it had been there for.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
And at the time, I didn't know, like, that Al Hartshorn was working there. That was my ultimate top of the list godlike hero, like seeing his flash when I was a kid in my home city in tattoo shop windows.
Yeah.
Because obviously I was walking by and checking them out and there was nothing like it. And I just thought, whoever's making this is a genius. But he's got the kind of work where he never had to have his face out, competing. His work spoke for itself and his work made its way around and his work was legendary. And I actually had no idea he was working there.
Yeah.
Until I showed up with my little box of tattoo stuff and was placed right beside him.
Yeah.
So again, another moment of...
Was that like a holy shit moment?
It was an incredible holy shit moment. Yes. Immediate anxiety and overthinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be one of the greatest gifts that I was ever given.
I'd be intimidated to work beside Al Hartshorn. I've been tattooing 30 plus years. Yeah, I can imagine that was like, wow, this is a pinnacle.
Oh yeah, I was fortunate that he tolerated me and took to me and was willing to share, his wisdom with me.
Yeah. I think it was almost destined for the type of work that you do, that, that Al be in your lineage somehow or some way.
Yeah, I'm so fortunate.
Because he is a legend in tattooing and I'd almost say like an unsung hero in tattooing because... Oh,
I sing it.
Yeah.
Psychotic fan.
Yeah. And I think his work is just incredible. It blows my mind. He's got so much raw talent.
Oh, yeah. On paper, on anything you give him.
Yeah.
On anything you give him. And I got to... That was the mentor that I never had and always wanted. Finally.
So tell me about the time you almost messed up Al Hartshorn's tattoo.
Oh, no, I did mess up Al Hartshorn's tattoo. I love this story. At first, it was like that hot pang of deep, oh my gosh, I don't even know what you would call that feeling. When your whole face, what is that emotion when your whole face turns to fire? Shame,
it's like
humiliation. Yeah. An aneurysm. Not that aneurysms are funny, but yeah. So, oh my gosh, he's going to be so upset about this story. He sees it differently than I do. So so we traded tattoos amazingly. So the first tattoo that he wanted from me was right here.
Okay.
I was like, I can't even have you breathe on me or look at this while I'm doing it. I have never been more intimidated in my life. Like, I'll do it for you and I'll do it good, but I never in my entire life could have pictured this day happening.
Sure.
And so I love that tattoo too. It's like a satanic evil demon. On Al Hartshorn's forearm. So we traded tattoos. I have my whole leg. If it was summer, I would show you. It's amazing. And a lot of it was just free-handed, just right out of his head. He, one of his dream tattoos was a full frontal evil, fully covered. And I said, it's not like you're at the end of the line here, but like if you don't start it, you might never start it. And I've got all these tattoos from you, and you have your forearm, so let's just do it.
Yeah.
So the day comes where we're just doing like really soft, barely touched, light, extra light gray wash lines to get the piece mapped out. It's like a couple skulls and like evil horns coming out of everywhere, and
okay.
He had a lot of stress about it and definitely hated every second of getting it and was not a fan.
Well, it's not a fun area to get tattooed.
No, and it was the first time anything like, that he'd ever had an area like that tattooed. And I was trying to be like super gentle and delicate, but definitely like there was some anxiety in the air and like I'm feeding off of it. And that day I never wore these Doc Martens that I had, never wore them. But that day I decided to wear them and they had these laces. And then at the time I was using a Cheyenne pen with the spaghetti noodle cord coming off of it. And so I'm like pinning him down and forcing him to get this tattoo that he wants. And he's like turning purple and quivering and really upset about it. And I'm trying so hard to soothe him without patronizing him. And the cord got stuck on my bootlaces and I didn't notice. And my hand went forward and the machine did not. It got pulled back and it fell down and it gave him a free line. Whoosh, Al Hartshorn's ribs, free line. It's still there. And then then I'm sitting there looking and I'm rubbing it. I'm rubbing it and it's not coming off. And I'm like, I'm going to have to tell my hero that I just gave him a free line, and I've never given a free line to anybody in my life. So I'm like, Al, we got to talk about something. And he's like, what? And I'm like, so yeah, there's a free line on your ribs. And he's like, what? And he looks, and he was really cool about it. And we ended up just laughing and agreeing that it was best that he had the free line instead of me giving it to someone else and him watching me do it.
Yeah, that's a funny story.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure Al's gonna chuckle if he watches this.
Yeah, he's gonna chuckle and he's gonna say that's not how it happened, but that's how it happened.
That's the real story. So there's been a few people that have strongly influenced you in your career. You know, Al, Pete Van de Hyde, Al Hartshorn. Who are some of the others that have really influenced you as an artist and tattoo artist? So
like I said, I said in our interview, I'm not sure if I said it here yet or not, but I've been extremely fortunate and blessed and grateful to have actually been able to have close friendships and like close work relationships with my ultimate heroes. Mm-hmm. So Al Hartshorn, Pete Van der Hyde was a special little hero that came into my life. Trevor Law, who has Inkfix in Sudbury, another massive influence for me creatively, and that we would just feed off of each other. John Wayne, Bee Sting Tattoo, Bell River. Yeah. Jeremy Rayson. I've spent a lot of time traveling, tattooing, being inspiring, creating with him. Mm-hmm.
Where's Jeremy from? He's
Sarnia.
Border City Tattoo?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a pretty impressive list of artists to be influenced.
I know.
And so what are some of your most pinnacle moments? If you look across your career so far, you know, what are the biggest moments that stand out to you the most? So definitely, I would say making that goal of getting into addictive and being proud of it, and actually like being able to live up to the expectations that, you know, such a well-established shop has. Mm-hmm. Working beside Al Hartshorn, being influenced by him, guided by him, mentored by him. Like I said, meeting one of my absolute best friends, Pete, connecting with him, establishing a lifelong friendship, like a brother. Mm-hmm. Traveling and tattooing, all the connections far and wide that you make from, you know, like individual connections are special and important, but they all branch out into a colossal community-wide connection and energy force. Mm-hmm. And being a part of, experiencing and contributing to that has been amazing. Mm-hmm. Meeting Jackie Gallant, Addictive Jackie, changed my life as well. Definitely. We got really close. Yeah, no, she definitely was a pivotal, huge influence and change in my life. And she was more than just the boss at Addictive. She became a mentor and a friend. And yes, so absolutely. Many more things for you. Definitely. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, she knows how to boss for sure. She's very experienced with running her shop, but I feel like that is so just one part of her. Mm-hmm. And there's so many other, I mean, with everybody, right? You know, nobody's one dimensional, but that's right. To really understand and know and to be able to appreciate and experience the full Jackie, you've got to spend some personal time with her. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I've noticed that with Jackie, there's layers. Yes. Endless, I think. Yeah. So your time at Addictive comes to a close, and you had some plans to travel, and how did that go? Well, so my traveling actually really started with Addictive. I did a few guest spots here and there prior to Addictive, but Jackie brought me around everywhere, to conventions, to far and wide guest spots. And I just loved that so much and made so many connections that I was really feeling like I was feeling without. And I wanted to be consistently at all these shops. So after 5 years of adventuring and being with Addictive, I decided that I would just travel full time. Yeah. So, you know, from a range of about like Windsor, John Wayne, Sarnia, Jeremy, London, Jackie, Lambeth, Al, Sudbury, Trevor, I would just like rotate the circuit as much as I could, but it was kind of short lived because of the lockdowns and all that, everything related to the Rona. And so then the lockdowns come, and so that at that point you decided to open up Death Wish Tattoo.
Yeah, I did. That was well, I really, really struggled with that decision actually, because my mind wanted to move to Sudbury permanently and work with my friend Trevor. I just really loved it up there. It's like a different world being up north, and my heart said no, that's not your path.
Okay. So this was sort of where you were kind of meant to be, and you felt that this was your calling. Yeah,
it was an easy path. That's kind of the confirmation that it was the right path. You know, there was not a lot of resistance.
Mm-hmm. And so your shop name is called Death Wish.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that you told me during the interview was that you had dreamed about being a mortician.
Yes, I did. That's what I wanted to do before I discovered tattooing, or before tattooing discovered me.
Okay.
And I was pretty set on that until, even though I was an artist and had designed tattoos for myself as a kid and, drew little tattoos on my friends and stuff, I never considered it to be a possibility as a profession until me and my brother strong-armed my mom into getting us underage tattoos and signing for them. And the guy who tattooed me looked through my sketchbook. I left it with him to get the design ready, and he looked through it and offered me an apprenticeship. So,
so obviously you've been drawing for a very long time, and it's easy to tell that you must have a strong work ethic when it comes to your tattooing.
I do. Definitely.
Tell me about that.
I take it really seriously. To achieve a level of tattooing where you can actually be successful with it in a business way, and to have a network of clients who enjoy getting tattooed by you and spending time with you, requires so much unseen sacrifice, dedication, discipline, and commitment. And I didn't participate in life outside of tattooing until really the past 2 years, when I met my partner. I call him my husband. I do have a ring, but we haven't actually officially married. But he's my husband anyways, Steve. Once I met him, then something came into my life that competed with my first love of tattooing.
Sure, yeah. And you just recently had a baby.
I did. Thank you.
How are you enjoying motherhood?
Oh, I love it. She's the best baby. Yeah, it's definitely a lot to juggle. She's easy. I feel like it's everything around her that's, not hard, but it can be challenging to make everything happen. And I had a maternity leave, but I couldn't wait to get back into tattooing. Not at her expense. It's really part-time. And I kind of like that too, actually, I put in, 16 years, in February, it'll be 17 tattooing. I put in like 16 years straight of,
hard at it.
Nonstop, no matter what had to be sacrificed, because I wanted to achieve a certain skill level, and I wanted to have, a certain amount of connections and, travel experience under my belt, and I just wanted everything that tattooing had to offer. And in addition to that, I ended up, just as a byproduct, really connecting with a lot of clients who mean a lot to me. And tattooing is very healing and transformative for everybody, whether they're aware of it or not, but I'm hyper aware of it in my clients, and, they need me. I was there. Mutual exchange. I needed them just as much as they needed me. Absolutely.
And the name Death Wish, where does that come from?
So that definitely comes from the darkness. How far do you want to go into that?
As the light sprinkles in your eyes.
Yeah. I think you got to go to the darkness to get the light.
Yeah.
That kind of light. It's a polarity. As somebody who contributes to healing, I would say that it's basically impossible to contribute to somebody's healing if you can't heal yourself. And I'm very grateful for all of the lessons that I've been given and have learned in my life, because it made me into the person that I wish that I had had my whole life. And being able to give that to people is so humbling and such a blessing. I love that that's a part of my work and my personal life. Death Wish came from, I mean, being born into chaos and abuse and having such a skewed perception of what life is, and suicidal ideation at a young age, and experiences that just kept coming. So, I mean, I guess that's where I got the inspiration from. I've really let my, I don't know what you'd call it, my dark side or my alter ego really run within tattooing. That was always my safe place for that part of me to, you know, be exposed. I did consider other names, but oh God, I don't want to tell you what it's really bad. Okay, so that is personal. Death Wish is personal for me because it's like, you know, the ultimate overcoming the darkest parts of yourself. Healing yourself and then thus being able to heal others, pulling yourself out of hell and then being able to pull other people out of hell. It's an incredible gift that can only be earned. You know, it's a superpower that can be earned through only coming out of the darkness and into the light. Lately, I've been liking, you know, a bit more of everything, but if I had to pick one style forever that would make me happy, I'd pick evil shit, you know, like skulls, dead chicks, bioorganic, horror portraits, that kind of stuff. It comes naturally to me. I like it. And I don't know, maybe that's like a better out than in.
And so when your clients come in, what kind of experience are you hoping they have? Like, what are your thoughts about, what does tattooing mean to you?
Well, I mean, that's so personal. I think that's so, like, you know, subjective and deeply personal. Commonly, I see that it's very transforming for people and it's very healing for people. And I mean, that's an ultimate goal for me. You know, those based on what people have shared with me and my own experiences with getting tattooed. I have clients that absolutely depend on their tattoo appointments. It's therapeutical for them. There is talk therapy involved. There's, you know, spiritual therapy involved. And then there's like pain transferal involved. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to narrow that down into.
Well, when I look at or speak with tattooists that have a really long history in tattooing, it's something that I think everybody comes to eventually. You know, that there's this connection we make with our clients, and tattooing is helpful.
Oh my gosh, it's so
not just to the client. It's also been helpful, like for me. It's been really, I'm so grateful to be a tattoo artist.
Yeah, me too. 100%. I'd do it over 100,000 times. I would have never picked anything else now that I've lived it.
And doesn't it feel like such a privilege to be able to do this?
Absolutely.
You know, a means to make a living. Not
only to do it, but to be trusted and, you know, to be able to provide what people are hoping for, and to be able to provide healing in a safe space.
That's right.
No matter what you're bringing. But I was very fortunate to always have people worth looking up to help guide me. And completely 100%, I would not have achieved what I achieved or became the person that I am without them. And in addition to that, I have incredible clients. That have been patient with me, that have followed me, that have trusted me, not just with their bodies, but with their vulnerabilities.
So we've talked a little bit about where you've come from, what you're currently up to. What are your hopes and wishes for the next 20 years? Any thoughts? For the next 20 years, like with tattooing, I don't know, with life, with everything. So lately I've been really opening up and sharing more of my spirituality with everyone in my life, even with myself, getting to know myself in that way, because we are all mind, body, and spirit. And to deny that is to deny, you know, a part of yourself. So I've really become more in touch with that part of myself. And it is an absolute pleasure for me to connect with my clients in that way and to share with them. I have deeper connections now with my clients. Next 20 years, I feel like there's so many variables. I've never been more than a 5-year plan kind of person. I sort of go in 5-year increments. For the next 5 years, I could see myself
pretty much just kind of coasting, enjoying my new baby, tattooing as much as I possibly can. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought of a 5-year plan. That's
So then what would a message be you'd want tattooers to know?
oh my gosh, so many.
Because we were talking earlier about how to, I think it's important because we're sedentary job.
Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself.
100%. What you give to yourself, you're going to get out of life. Tattooing is incredibly demanding on the mind, body, and spirit, and you need to be giving back to yourself what you're giving to other people. That looks different for everybody. Like for me, that's, going for a walk or having a bath or reading a good book, nurturing my mind, learning something new, connecting with a friend, boxing, sparring with my man. He makes me, and I love it.
You also mentioned something, and I think this was a really
stretch every day.
There was something else that you had said, and I thought was so incredibly wise earlier, and it was about people's downtrodden view of the tattoo industry and how it's changing now. What are your thoughts about how tattooing has changed, and some people are slowing down and some people are not?
Yeah. That's funny, that the trend is that some people are affected by, the downturn and some people seem not to be. But my belief is that we are all not only individual consciousness and energy, but we are also a collective consciousness and energy. And when the vast majority of our collective is sending out lack, despair, poor me, tattooing is over for me, I'm not going to get anything, nobody's coming to get tattooed by me, that creates, it's like a magnet, and you're going to get what you're asking for. And maybe more than anything, there needs to be, an energetic adjustment. Our connection with each other and with the community factors into that huge. I think that a lot of that not has been lost, but definitely has slid to the back burner since the past few years.
And I think, watching the changes that are taking place, and if I was suddenly watching my client list dwindle and decline and start to wonder where the next dollar was coming from, I'd be scared. And I think that's a normal reflex. But I was listening to a thing on Instagram from Adam Sky, and he was, dispensing what he thought people need to do. And part of that is, I think we've come to a time where it is really important to make connections with your clients.
Oh, yes.
To not just look at them as a client, but this is an experience that is coming to me.
Yeah. And
this person is really important to my day.
100%, and to your life, and you're important to them, which is worth being conscientious of as well.
That's right.
They're not just coming to you for a stick-on tattoo. They're coming to you for, to be taken care of. Mm-hmm. And they want somebody that they can trust and somebody that they're going to have a good experience with. Mm-hmm. And 100%, you nurture your clients, they're going to nurture you. Everything that if you have a garden, the plants that you water are going to be the ones that grow. Yeah.
And I think that's something that is really needed in tattooing, is just, how to make that deeper connection with your customers, and not just look at them as a viable source of income, but as human beings coming to have an interaction with you and giving everything you can in that exchange.
100%. Even connecting with humans outside of your tattoo realm is going to affect the people that you're tattooing inside of your tattoo realm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
There was 2 things I was just thinking about. 2 lines that have always followed me. I'd say, no matter what, always let your faith be stronger than your fear. And as long as you know, and this one came from a random tattoo magazine that I read when I was 16. And I have no idea who said it. And if I had known I'd carry it with me for the rest of my life, I would have paid more attention to who said it. But it's, maybe actually. It's as long as you know where the line starts and ends, the middle will take care of itself.
Yeah, those are great quotes.
And both of them follow me in every part of my life, not just tattooing, but they are always there to reassure me. I 100% have faith that's stronger than my fear at all times with everything. And I do believe fully that as long as you know where your line starts and ends, the middle will take care of itself.
Yeah. Because the middle is just the details.
It is. And I think that we get too hung up on how the details unfold. I think that, you need to paint the picture of where you want to go and just, have the blind faith that you'll be led there. You won't even see the path. If you're so hung up on how you're going to get the path, you won't see it when it's presented to you. You don't get to decide.
That's right. That's incredibly wise. Thank you, Malibu, for taking the time to do this interview. I really wanted to do a spotlight with you because I think you're such a talented artist, but also I think you're a wise person. So
thank you so much, Ned. I really appreciate it. It's been great to connect.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this little snippet of Malibu's career in my book. When it comes out, there'll be a lot more details and juicy tidbits. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day.
Thanks so much.